We finally entered the building, being extra cautious of our surroundings, much like the Colonel instructed. We entered a studio set where we saw another group of investigators inside. A female agent approached the Colonel and said, "Excuse me, sir, sorry, you and your men can't enter here." "We had permission from Agent Lee," Colonel said. "I don't care. This area is prohibited and you are not allowed." That's when she heard Agent Lee approaching her, saying that it was okay, that we were with them, and to calm down. After we went inside the studio to help set up the equipment for this investigation, I started to get this weird feeling, like we were being watched by someone, or something inside this place. I put one of the equipment pieces down, and I started to look around, until I looked at the back door of the room, and, well, I don't quite know how to describe this, but that's when I saw what looked like a person just standing at the door, watching me, with this disturbing face. He smiled at me in a very creepy way. I then yelled out, "Hey, you there!" I ran towards the man at the door, but he got away. Fuck. He got away. Everyone just looked at me and were all startled about what happened just now. "Hey, Private Carter, what the hell was that all about?" Lieutenant Enrique replied. "Lieutenant, listen, I saw someone at that back door spying on us. That's why I yelled and ran to the door to check, who it was." "Wait, you saw someone spying on us? What did he look like?" Now, I won't say this agent's name for privacy reasons, but let's call him B. Agent B asked if I saw someone, and I said, "Yeah, I did. Someone at the back door." "What did he look like?" Agent B replied. "Well, he had an orange shirt with the Nick logo, and he had what looked like an object of some sort on his right arm. Because I saw him raise his hand, and he had something. I couldn't tell what he had on his hands, but from where I was standing, it looked like a weapon." As I finished talking, one of the agents sent one of his guards to check the area. But when they opened the door, that's when hell broke loose. One of the men started screaming, and then we heard rapid gunfire from the men up in that room. 3 men came back, and one of their faces was scratched. The lieutenant called the medic, and the medic was trying to fix up his scratched face of the security guard. And oh my god, this scratch. I mean, it was terrible. And when I say bad, I mean really, really bad. After the man was patched up by the medic, Colonel Ortega came storming in and asked us what the hell happened. I heard gunshots just then. "Are you alright?" he said with fear in his eyes. "We were alright. Except one of my security guards got hurt," he said. "Jesus, what happened to you? Who did this to your face?" he asked. I can see that the man was in shock, and he couldn't get out another word. Then the colonel proceeded to ask one of the men that were with him when this happened, and another one of them said, "Look, I'll explain everything that happened." "Alright, tell us what happened," the colonel replied. We entered the back room like Agent Lee told us to. As we got in, we saw nothing at first, but when we found the light switch, we saw that the room had, well, pictures of the missing kids that were on the news not too long ago. Okay? And as we searched the room for more evidence, something came out of a secret door. And that's when we saw this thing come at us. "What thing?" one of the soldiers asked. "Alright, will you guys even believe me when I say this?" he asked. We all nodded. Okay. Well, there was this creature. It had sharp teeth and sharp claws and black eyes with blood running down from it. It charged at us and scratched his face, and, I'm not making this up. He even saw it too. Okay? Another one spoke up. Hey, is it true on what he's saying? He said to the other men that was with him. Yes, sir. Everything he said was true. A thought came into my head. What if this creature with red glowing eyes is from Office? Now, if you haven't heard about this game, basically what this game is, it's a Five Nights at Freddy's game. Except it's a Five Nights at Nick's game. I was stunned when he said red glowing eyes, so I simply raised my hand and asked if this thing really had red glowing eyes. Yeah? Why, you know something, kid? He replied. I think I might know what you're talking about, I replied back. Really? Well, you seem to know more about this place than all of us, so talk, Colonel Ortega replied. Well, alright, I do know two things. One, when I heard a story about this place where kids have gone missing and they closed the place down because they feared that this would spread word to the public, it's all very similar. And two, when they saw something with black eyes, it just reminds me of this game. How do we know you're not making all this up, Private Carter? Lieutenant Enrique replied. Look, if I were lying about this, I wouldn't be talking about it now. Alright? Everyone looked at me with confusion, and Agent Barbara replied with, You really believe in all that crap? She said sarcastically. Yes, I do believe it, and I don't think it's fake, I replied back. I think he might be telling the truth, one of the soldiers said with fear in his eyes. It was all too much of a coincidence. But after she said that, we then heard a very loud scream coming from the second floor. We were all very shocked on what we heard, and then Colonel Ortega ordered Lieutenant Enrique to take 5 of us to the second floor. I was one of the 5 that went to the second floor, and we all ran like hell. And before we got there, we heard another scream, but it didn't sound like it came from one person. It sounded like there were multiple people screaming and crying. We got to the second floor slowly, raising our rifles. Lieutenant said, Okay guys, stay sharp, we're going in. Lieutenant Enrique counted to 3 and kicked the door down. We all went in to investigate where those screams came from. We looked at every room on this floor and found nothing. After we didn't find anything, Lieutenant Enrique ordered us to follow him back to the first floor, and as I was walking, I shit you not, I noticed movement on the other end of the hallway. Hey, Lieutenant, I said. Yeah? I saw movement coming from the left end of the hallway. Where? He replied. Over there. Right next to that room on the end of the hallway. To the left, I said. Okay guys, let's check it out. We moved slowly to the hallway where I saw movement. We approached it and the door read, Fun room for kids to play. We all looked at each other, and my friend at the time, Private Miller, said that he didn't have a good feeling about this. I didn't either. Lieutenant approached the door, and surprisingly, the door wasn't even locked. As if something came here and unlocked this door, I started getting very suspicious about this room. We entered it, and of course it was pitch black inside. We turned on our night vision goggles and immediately noticed the smell in that room. was disgusting. I mean, from what we could see, there was trash on the ground. Rats coming in and out of the room, and... oh, the smell. Oh my god, it was fucking horrible. It smelled like a dead corpse of some sort. We all looked around the room, and I noticed something out of the corner of my eyes. I got closer to it, and there were 5 missing person posters. I then walked over to see the lieutenant, and I handed him the posters, and he was just as shocked as I am. Are these the 5 kids that went missing over a month ago, Lieutenant? His expression turned blank. Yeah, I'm afraid they're the kids that went missing, he replied back with a sad expression. And what happened next? What happened next, I'll never forget. All of us saw a small yellow creature coming up the stairs. It had sharp teeth and sharp claws, and it had the same black eyes with blood, as one of the agents described. It looked just like that one yellow popular sponge from Five Nights at Nick. And then it spoke. Hello. You all shouldn't have come here. Now, I guess, you're all gonna die. It then charged at us.